Hi guys, and a very warm welcome back to the Art of Paul Apps. Now before I go any further, I've got to say that it's been a little while since I've sat down and done a watercolor tutorial for you guys to enjoy on the channel and get something from. And today was going to be no different. I had fully intended to go out and do a plein air film in Clarabelle as a little adventure, but although it's really sunny outside, I felt that the wind was just so high that I would have had trouble not only painting but also filming that painting. So why not, I thought, let's sit down, let's get something set up in the studio, and we'll do a watercolor tutorial, and hopefully you're watching it right now and enjoying it and getting something, or at least you will enjoy it when you get to the other end. So what am I going to be doing? Well, some years ago I actually did an art residency down in Gloucester, and the place that I stayed had a beautiful pond, a lovely lily pond. And I took some pictures, and actually sometime later I actually used this picture as an acrylic painting as part of my book on how to paint water. And that was some time ago now, but I came across the picture the other day and I felt I really like that. So I'm going to use it as a basis. Now it doesn't have to be exact, but it can be used as the basis of a watercolor study, and hopefully that's what I'm going to do this afternoon. You're going to enjoy it, and hopefully you're going to take away from it some information that you're going to find useful in your own watercolor paintings moving forward. So let's get on, let's not delay any further, and let's see how it all turns out. Okay everybody, now a little bit about some of the stuff that you see in front of you here. First and foremost, the paper. I'm using a all cotton paper from Bao Hong, and I do enjoy the smooth surface. This is the hot press paper, which I just find I love hot press, but it's not for everybody. It's it's a particular surface. I love it, but you can do this same exercise on not surface, or indeed you can do it on rough surface. Doesn't really make a lot of odds. I just happen to be using a hot press surface. The photograph here you can see is of the lily pond that I talked about just now. It is quite a flat lighting. There is enough light in it, but it's contrasty in terms of the lights and the darks. The sky wasn't a blue sky. It was quite a threatening sky with these puffy white clouds moving across it as well. So I found that interesting as a color note against the green, or the pale cool greens, the light greens of the lily pads. And of course, just for a little accent, we've got some reedy grasses coming up and a couple of flower bulbs of the lily. So that's what I'm going to do, but I'm not necessarily going to copy everything ad infinitum. It doesn't make a lot of odds. I just want to use this as a reference, as a basis, and show you my process of painting it so that you can do something accordingly as you wish to do that. And if you are interested in this and doing this one, then by all means I will make the reference photographs available over on my free school. Now if you want to paint this, please pop on over there. I'll make it available that you can freely download the references. All you got to do is join the school, and you're more than happy to use them and have a go at yourself and see how you get on. So that's not going to cost you anything, but that's just the only way that I can really allow people, or at least let people get easy access to reference photos that I post from time to time. So that's said and done. Now here we've got just a generic mechanical pencil. It's a 0.5 lead, and I think it's actually a 2B. I'm not too sure, but I think that's what it is. And for those of you who've watched my watercolor painting in the past, this is my generic palette, and it's a Craig Young box, so it has, traditionally it should have 16 colors. Though I've been a little bit naughty with mine, I've actually put an extra one there, and I've got 4 extra ones there. Gotta say, there's a lot less than I used to have in there, but I just have sort of cut my palette down a little bit over the last couple of years. The brushes that I use, well, you should know if you follow me again, these are all Rosemary and Company brushes. They are all synthetic. Now, lots of debate on synthetic brushes, how good they are for watercolor. Well, I got to say, Rosemary, some years ago now, spent an mighty amount of time getting the right filament together over a period of time, and lots of experimentation to come up with this filament that it mimics sables as closely as you possibly can. And I've got, I've got these ones. I've got several brushes and lots of them from Rosemary, and I've got lots of sables in my collection. However, for the last few years, I've just used this set. That's all I've done. I don't use all of them. Normally there's only about 4 of these on the palette to use. They're all the Red Dot series. There is a number 10, a number 14, a number 5, and I think somewhere I've got a 6, and then I've got a very small number 2 round, and I've got a rigger. Now that is, oh, and of course the dagger as well, the long dagger. That's quite interesting. Now these are all you really need, and they keep going and keep going. As long as you respect your brushes, as long as you treat them well and don't leave them sagging under the weight of water to bend them and things like that, then these will hold point. Now I've got to say that these will, this one here is starting, it's been used so much, but they're starting to show the signs that at some point in the next year or so I may have to get replacements. But hey, these are used almost week in, week out, and they've done an awful lot of painting as well, if you follow my channel. And yeah, so there you go. Now on the note of following my channel, if you enjoy this video, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give it a like and click that bell icon. It tells you up each and every time I upload a new video, and you'll be helping the video reach a lot more people around the world who, just like you guys, want to learn to paint. So that would be exceptionally useful to me and the channel to help it grow, and I would thank you in advance for doing that. And if you want a little bit more, don't forget there is my school, the free one and the paid one. All the links to that are down under this video and all other videos. And yeah, I'm going to say it anyway. If you feel that you want to help support the channel and you don't necessarily want to pay out and join the paid school, then you can always think about a super chat, or indeed you can buy me a coffee. Again, the links for that are all in the description. Everything that I make from super chats and coffees always go back into buying equipment, buying materials to keep making these videos for you guys that are absolutely free for you guys to enjoy and learn from. So that would be absolutely helpful. Anyway, enough. Let's get back to the case in hand. So I've talked about the materials. We got the photograph. All I'm going to do now is take a look at my reference that I got on the big screen to one side of me and just put a few lily leaves in just to show you the sort of thing that we're looking at doing. Okay, so first and foremost, I'm going to simply plot in a couple of the sort of flower bulbs here. Just a very simple little shape here, and another one. Well, this one's almost parallel, but let's just raise it up a little bit, and it's got more of a definite shape like that. Quite there's a dark leaf there supporting it. Sit this way a little bit more. I think we're done. I think we are. I'm going to put in a couple of smaller lily pads here. I think this is very much a different one, and so they're much smaller leaves, and they've got the same sort of dynamic about them, but they got this little red shape to them, so I'm going to put that in. Okay, everyone, well, I have decided to try a little bit of masking fluid. It's not my favorite medium at all. I rarely use it, but I felt it might help you guys if I do. See how it works out. Now, what I use normally, I don't use a brush. They will wreck in a heartbeat. I always use a spent family size matchstick, and I just sharpen it up for the occasion and just give it a little bit of a edge. And yeah, it's actually quite fluid underneath. Why didn't I do that in the first place? You live and learn. Okay, now we've got some fluid. Now whether or not this is any good under here, who knows? Let's just see. Whichever way, I'm going to let that dry out first before we do anything more, so we'll get on with the painting very, very shortly. Okay, I think that's dry enough to carry on with. So what I'm going to do is use a larger brush. Now, probably not the 14. It's only a small piece of paper. I forgot to mention the size of it, actually. You'll find that this is a 9 by 12 in size. Sorry about that. Said it's been a while since I've done a video on watercolor. All right, so I'm going to start mixing up. The first color I'm going to really run with is my lovely Daniel Smith lavender color. Just work as fast as I can here. I'm going to leave that there at that point, and just, I can either leave this, it doesn't look pretty at the moment, but hopefully once it's dry I can come in with slightly darker pigments over certain areas. Okay, so here we go again. Now I am going to use more paint, a little less water into that paint, and make it somewhat darker, moodier. And I'm going to start at the top here a little bit. And, or am I? I think I am. I'm going to look at that. I think I want to come in with this darker color through here. Let's just add in a little bit more weight in dark here. Helps support the bottom of the picture, and that works in my favor. Well, I don't think that that ended up too bad. It could have been a lot worse, but I don't think we got too far out on that. Just going to bring it in ever so slightly more dark, a little bit more of that, a little bit more of that, and a little bit more. There we go. Taking the worst off. Just want to pop in an extra value of dark into this foreground just to support the water in a sense at the very bottom of the picture image. Now we're going the wrong way again. Going to come in with some yellow. Now the yellow has brought the lavender back. Maybe I should have just gone with the lavender and some aureolin. That has seemed to be bringing that back to where I want it to be. I think I'm good with that. All right, so we're coming in with an initial wash, and all I'm going to do is quite simply put this pale wash over, not all. Now you can see there's a lot of pale lightest patches within, so I'm going to sort of just tap in generic little green parts and hopefully leave some of the surface with that little white rim and around it in places. I think we are moving in the right direction with this. Going to put a bit of dark under there. That works. A little bit of dark over the back. And we've got pockets of dark here and around. There's a little bit more yellow on this one later on. We're going to work that in. All right, coming back up to this one. It's somewhat greener. So let's come in with a little bit more lavender, a little bit more of the aureolin color. Again, hopefully I'm getting a suggestion of these veins without actually counting the white marks against the darker marks. I know this is not going to look brilliant. I knew it wouldn't, but if we can resurrect some of this in the fullness by the end of this painting, I will be very, very happy. Look to the bases as well. That's quite important in this painting because where they are sitting into the water, it creates little meniscus shapes of light and dark and shadows. And that's important to be able to convey that in this work. Now, if you're not able to sort of worry about that too much and you don't want to do that, then turn your paper around and use the natural way that your hand would work. Different if you're a left-handed person. I'm not. But just turn it so that it's more comfortable for you to work on. And if you're painting, and now I'm a wildlife artist as well, as you know, but if you were painting cat whiskers, cat fur in this fashion, then by all means turn the paper around to suit the normal function and flow of your wrist. All very suggestive little marks. And we've got that shape under there. I'm going to put that in. And then we've got the sort of central line of the lily. And then taking out a lot of paint, I just want to suggest some slightly darker lily pad marks. Now, it's looking a little bit confusing with the paint, got to say. But hopefully, when I put a little bit more definition in, that won't be the case. I hope. Fingers crossed. Now then, this one by our flower. I come in with a little bit more of the violet color. And we want to make this part here. I'm getting confused again. what part I'm looking at. This one, this leaf. Okay, let's come in here and put that little raised bit where it's being pushed up. And we've got a bit of veining through over here, which we want to try and get in. We have quite a bit of leaf structure on this one, because it is still a bulb. And we're going to come in there and just make sure that we are aware that that is just a flower ready to pop, but not quite there yet. Wetter, denser, darker, but certainly warmer on the bases of the stems of these reeds. I'm going to come in here with a little bit more of this gold color, and I want to warm up the top end of this leaf, creating some of the veining, if I can. A little bit of red, a little bit of gold, just creating the odd little suggestion that there are veins on the underside of that leaf, with a little bit of the phthalo, just as an influence. Now I'm going to come in with the red to temper the phthalo. Now that's gone very, very cool as a color. Let's come in with some vermilion. Now we're starting to get there. A little bit more vermilion, and a little bit of neutral tint to help the vermilion. That's fine. Now where do we need to take that? Well, I don't think we need to take it much further. So what I'm going to do is just put some of this on and out of the way. So I'm going to suggest a few of these beautiful reflective surfaces of some of these in the water, and that little wobble on the brush is not a bad thing either, really, because you are suggesting water. Okay, we're going to use a little bit of blue into that, making it still quite dark, and what we're going to do is run around the very faint edges of the reflective surface, and the odd little tap like that. Now what we're doing is suggesting the shadowy marks. I'm going to make it a little warmer. It's probably too warm. Come back with some of that to temper that warm down. A little bit more fluid, not too much because it will dry too light on you. Just trying to make that mix about where we need it to be. Let's go with that and just see how that looks. Now, a little bit of warmth against the green will work wonders when it comes to suggesting those little shadowy marks in the water. A little bit of dark under there. I'm going to rise up this leaf, aren't we? So we've got a little deal with this one here as well. Let's come around here. A little bit of dark down there, through there. I think I've got that a little bit wrong. Let's just bring that through there. Then this one will come round. A little bit of a shape. Now, not getting confused. That is the edge of the leaf. That's right. And I'm just going to put a couple of extra shapes in there to look as though it's pleated in that way. A little bit of a dark light mark in there. And we've got little touches of reflections here. And on the edge of this one, little touches of light and dark on the edges. Very, very neatly on the water at this one. Not too much lift off. A little bit here maybe, a little bit more, a little darker. Raised leaf in there, and coming down, and a raised leaf in there. Hopefully that will do that job and suggest that. Possibly a little too strong, to be fair, but I think we get away with it. That's what I wanted to do there. I just wanted to come here and suggest a little bit around some of these little lilies in the water here. Okay, I'm pretty much done. I am just going to get a bit of body colour. Okay, so what I wanted to do with the body colour is just pick a little bit of the white gouache, take that out and add that on the side there, and just influence with a little bit of lavender to the white, maybe a little bit more of the white. Let's just put some out on the palette there, not too much. You don't need much of this at all. And don't stick, like I just did, don't stick your opaque colour into your watercolours. That's an awful mistake. Right, what I wanted to do is just suggest a little bit of lighting around some of these like that. It's just that extra little play of light. It's no paint medium, so we're using it as such. And I'm going to do that in quite a few places just to suggest that, you know, that little bit of separation. Actually, I haven't put any area under there. I'll put a little bit under there. A little bit of light around to break up the water and suggest that that's just a little bit of meniscus around the bases of some of these plants. Actually, a little signature down here. Right, there we go. One little picture of lilies on a lily pond. Is not the best use of liquid mask, I've got to admit. I will be first to put my hands up and say that wasn't successful. But overall, I think we got away with it. I'm quite happy the way the lily pads look. They do look as though they're sitting on the water. There's the right style of lights and darks with the reflections underneath the leaves, as well as the shapes and values on top of the leaves. They're very, very cool compared to the water, but I think we got away with it enough. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've got something from this one. And if you have, then don't forget, as I said earlier, like, subscribe, and help the channel grow in any way, in which way you possibly can. And if you want to see more either wildlife painting and landscape painting, join the paid school. And if you want just to become part of the community as well, join the free school and get the reference to this one. Have a go at this one yourself. So you'd be more than welcome to do that. So until the next video, everybody, I'm going to sign off now. Let you get on with yours. Enjoy your painting and have lots of fun doing it. I'll catch you all in the next video very, very soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.